All right, so what we're doing this morning, and Mike Flecker, if you're watching, which I don't think you are, because he came in to do fair housing this morning.
I think he just left.
Yeah. Are we still doing fair housing today? I said, no, we're doing that next week. He went, oh, yeah. That's why I should wear my glasses when I look at my calendar.
Is this for people who are taking it through card?
No, I'm teaching fair housing in here next week for a 2-hour CE credit.
But it's still through card, right? I mean,
Well, it's approved by CAR, but it's actually the Virginia Real Estate Board class.
but they still pay for it, is what I'm saying, yeah.
But so what we're doing this morning is we're talking about personal promotion. And the reason I wanted to kind of do this again is because I think just in the way our industry, not just our industry, but just the way people are doing things, it's just more and more, that's the way I want to say this, the auto default is just to do everything digitally and online and emails and Facebook and all those kind of things. And all those things are good, and we're going to talk about those things. But what I really want to try to get across as we go through this today is this whole aspect of being intentional about building relationships. And obviously we hear it all the time, you know, through the Buffini program and things like that. And he's absolutely right. But I think the thing that I feel like is so important right now is because even though the digital is good and emails and you know, social media, I can tell you story after story about you know, things on social media where you're part of the conversation, you hear about things and you can, you know, wish somebody a happy birthday, or you find out that their cat passed away, or you know, a dear one, or friends of mine in the neighborhood that I didn't even know, or in Steamboat Springs this week on a ski trip. And you know, so I'm able to send them a little note saying, hey, so glad to see the family, you know, having a good time. But all that being said, I think that kind of going back to the basics of just really building relationships one at a time. People are really struck by it. They feel like you've done something extra special, when in fact all you're doing is what people have done for generations, and that's, you know, build relationships with people and things like that. So hopefully in the 50 or so minutes we talk, basically I want to just kind of give you an overview so that then you can figure out, you know, what things work for you, what things you're doing, what things you could be doing. But I think that the biggest thing is this whole aspect of getting outside your comfort zone. Putting yourself in places that just, you know, it's not something you would normally do. And if you really want to grow your business, I believe that that's what needs to happen. So as we go through this, you know, talk about the overview of personal promotion, ways to make contacts and turn into a target market database, earning the right to do business with your sphere of influence, specify ways to market yourself that makes you different from everyone else, using social media to enhance your marketing efforts. And just again, don't forget that Brittany from Movement Mortgage is a resource for you. And she doesn't have to be a resource just when she's here. She can be a resource for you if you've got a question or you've got a thought. Obviously, we've got Chris, who's awesome. But if you have a question or you have an idea or whatever, absolutely reach out to Brittany. If you don't have her contact information, get with Jay. He can give it to you. I think she's coming, I want to say she's coming the 13th of March. I think it's the second Wednesday in March. She's going to come and do a lunch and learn with Jay, but also do one-on-one classes that day. But anyway, it just, you know, she comes every couple of months, but just remember that she's a resource. She's very responsive and happy to help in whatever way she can. As we go through this, you know, it's a discussion, and I'm going to try again today. If you're watching and you want to text a question or give me an idea while we're doing this, it's 434-227-9118. And that way people who are on the watching it from someplace else, if they have a question that I'm not answering, we can get to it. But I think the whole aspect of personal promotion, and we're talking about personally promoting your business, right? And the first and foremost of that is being part of the conversation. Are you putting yourself in places that is giving you the chance to meet new people, build better relationships with people you already know, ask people that you do business with for the opportunity to work with them or with the people that they know. So being part of the conversation. Second thing, I really believe this, that if you really want to be successful in this business, I don't know why my phone does this sometimes, it just goes off into never land in regards to goes to a stopwatch. Anyway, if everything boiled down to one word, contacts. Do I have enough contacts to really get my business to where I want it to go? And that's why when we go through that whole business planning, we talk about how many people do I need to meet to get an appointment? How many appointments do I need to have so I can get an actual buyer or seller? And how many buyers and sellers do I have to get this many sales so that I can meet the goals that I've set for myself? So am I putting myself in a situation? Am I putting myself, getting outside my comfort zone to make new contacts? And it may be, an individual contact, or it may be going to something that you normally wouldn't go to because it's just not your way. Maybe it's you see the Chamber's doing a networking night, from 5 to 7, and that just sounds awful, to just go in and be amongst people you don't know and whatever. But it's being part of a conversation. There's all sorts of conversations that are going on. An example, last week, the Chamber did have a networking thing at the new Scott Wagner chiropractor place over there along Hillsdale Avenue. First of all, that place is extraordinary. I had no idea. I drive by it every day and no idea how big it was and all the stuff that they have in there. So it was worthwhile for me just to kind of see it. But again, it's a lot of people from a lot of different organizations, a lot of different companies that are there trying to meet you, and you try to meet them. And if you're intentional about it and you come up with a game plan as to what I'm gonna go and I'm gonna just commit myself to getting involved in 2 or 3 conversations in the hour I'm going to be there, that I can really feel like, as I talk about all the time, I really feel like I can build rapport, I can gain credibility with those people, and I can show them, and then ultimately I can show them that I care. Example, yesterday in Richmond, I was at the Real Estate Legislative Conference. There was a breakfast in the morning. Guest speaker actually was the chaplain for the Navy SEALs, and actually was the chaplain for the Navy SEALs that the Schnook got shot down by her. He had to go to all those families and tell the families that their sons or daughters had died. He was also the chaplain of the Navy SEAL group that went and finally ended Obama's life. So he's had these amazing experiences, and it was great. It was great to meet him, and he brought his wife and his junior high school daughter. And the junior high school daughter trying to figure out where she's going to go to college. And I joked about the fact, so I got the opportunity to introduce him. I joked about the fact that little did Bella know that it wasn't about her dad speaking at this. It was that she was now going to be in a room with 100 realtors from all over the state that could help her decide which college to go to. And I said, and it's good to have options, but Bella already knows there's only one place for her, and that's the University of Virginia. So we had some fun with it. But the point being is, I ended up building rapport with that family. I gained credibility by some things I talked about, and this morning, personal note is in the mail to them in Williamsburg, thanking them. Great to meet you. I want to put you in, I've already put them in touch with a really good friend of ours in Williamsburg, and then put him in touch with another person who I think, the two of them might really connect. And so I really believe that I've made a new friend, a new family friend, and I'm totally about, when it talks about personal promotion and things too, I'm totally about ripple effect. What are those efforts going to do? They're going to meet these other people, and this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and so you just never know.
Right.
You just never know. But the point being is, blowing it down, I've got to have contacts. I've got to have people that I'm meeting with, that know who I am, that know the kind of realtor I want to be, and then doing the build rapport, gain credibility, showing you care. You know, the next thing on this outline is my little food chain, successful business, lead generation food chain, where you start with a contact, it turns into a suspect, because, you know, maybe they might know somebody, maybe they, whatever, you qualify them a little bit more, they become prospects, they ultimately become customers and clients, which leads them to buyers and sellers, and ultimately dollars earned. And what you want to have happen as it relates to your personal promotion and promoting your personal business is you want this lead chain to just be cyclical. You know, the dollars earned, people were very satisfied with the job that you did, and so they tell other people about you. And so the nice thing about it is when that happens, you don't go kind of all the way back to contact suspect. You probably may even go up all the way to customer and client. The first 3 or 4 links of the chain don't have to be happening because somebody else has referred you to them. So they immediately say, now, can it be different? Yeah. Got a situation where Mike Peters and I are going to meet with some sellers tomorrow. The guy says they're moving to California. They need to sell their house. You know, longtime friends, blah, blah, blah. So I said, happy to do it. You know, got Mike involved. And then yesterday I get an email, and there are 3 realtors. And all 3 of them, and he's written email to all of us about how he has relationships with all 3. The one's, you know, good friends with his daughter, and another one is such and such. And I've known him for a long time, 40 some years, and worked with my sister. So, you know, I emailed Mike, and I said, yeah, I guess we're not alone in this one. And Mike emailed me back and said, I love competition. And, so anyway, we'll see what happens with that. But I thought that was one where somebody knew me well, and so was saying, yes, I want you to help us sell our house. Well, sort of, but there are 2 other people that we're going to be competing with. So again, simple thought process that helps us focus on what's important: building rapport, gaining credibility, showing people that you care. Obviously, your reputation is key to generating new business. So both of you have been in different lines of work, do it well. You have people that see you do it well. And so there's obviously, from my standpoint, there's a bridge that goes across from, you know, June at the University of Virginia and what she does. There's a bridge to people seeing her and finding out she's a realtor and going, gosh, she's so good at this, and I'm sure she's good at this. And you being in the retail business, you know, having that opportunity to build those bridges. But it's all about earning the right. When you talk about personally promoting yourself, it's about putting yourself in a position or a place where you can earn the right. It's sort of in the kind of getting off into, you know, today's culture and things like that. You know, so many different people with so many different opinions on what's going on in the world and what's going on in the country and the state. It was really interesting being in Richmond yesterday.
I bet.
We're literally sitting in a
Keg of dynamite.
several hundred realtors in a room, listening to 4 former legislators talking about, you know, everything. And right in the middle of that is when the phone started blowing up about the Attorney General, that he too had admitted that he had done the same thing, even though he had told on Friday, he told the governor he needed to resign. Now he's having to say, I did the same thing in 1980. And the people in the panel had no idea it was happening because they didn't have the phones or and everybody else in the room they're talking about Northern, they're talking about, you know, Fairfax and everything, and everybody in the room going, oh gosh, now we got number 3, you know, type of scenario. But the point being is, as you get into those conversations, if you haven't earned a right with that person, then I think you better be really careful about what you say.
Mhm.
If you've built relationship, have a rapport with somebody, you've gained credibility with them, they know you're a person that cares about them and cares about things, and you've got a better chance of getting into a conversation that can be a conversation versus just a divisive sort of scenario. And I think it's the same thing as it relates to our business. We need to earn the right. It's one of the things that I talk about all the time when we're talking to potential buyers and sellers. I say, I'd like to earn the right to become your realtor. That could be even in personal promotion in a geographic area. That language could be in there that says, look, I'm specializing in this area. I'm making sure I know everything that's going on in this neighborhood. I want the neighborhood to be a better place because I'm spending time in it. And all those things are about earning the right that if somebody's ready to sell their house, they're going to call me, right? If I just send a postcard out. Have I earned the right? No. I mean, I may be saying, hey, these are the stats and blah, 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 but I haven't really earned the right with those people. So what I'm trying to get us to think about is how do we go about doing that? How do we differentiate ourselves from other realtors by putting ourselves in a position of earning the right? And we'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. Be seen, be known, be heard. And again, this is hard for some of us. June, I know it's hard for you. We've talked about it a lot.
It wasn't hard when I worked in Scottsville because that's where I'm from and everybody knew my last name and everybody knew my name. And customers walked in off the street because our office was right on the street.
Right.
So it was very easy.
Yeah.
I had plenty of business.
Yeah.
But when you move away from that, you move away from the people who are familiar with you, who've known you all your life, because coming from Scottsville, then it becomes different.
Yeah.
And I'm not
Right.
So I don't go to bars, Scottsville bars. I mean, it's just, I just don't frequent certain.
Right. But I do think.
And it is really hard for me because I don't socialize in that sphere.
That's
I
right.
don't wander in that world at all.
And so, for
I go for
you,
money.
getting with Chris, and again, building on the fact that everybody knows your name down in that area, you should be doing some sort of intentional marketing campaign, mailing or things like that that say, hey, don't forget I'm in the business, and that kind of thing. You don't have an office there yet, but your name hasn't changed. You still live there.
You know the area.
Know the area. You're still engaged with those people. I think it's just a matter of re-engaging, and creating a postcard or something that you can mail into a particular scenario, and then behind it, just okay, I'm going to mail this out to how many people, and I'm going to make a commitment that I'm going to reach out and talk to every one of those people in the next 3 months,
Right.
or whatever, and on the phone or whatever, because I think you're absolutely right that's still there. You just have to play it in a different way than in the past.
Exactly, because when I moved away from the agency that I was managing and all there, that I never told anybody where I was going.
Right.
So a lot of people wandered down to that agency looking for me, only to have them say, "Oh, she's not here anymore," and kind of imply that I'm no longer in business.
Exactly.
So then they used one of them rather than saying, "Well, how can I get in touch with you?"
Right. Exactly.
So so I've lost a lot of business that way. It's taken me a little while to figure out what they were doing.
Yeah.
But they were doing what worked best for them, so I can't.
Yeah.
I just need to change I need to up my game here.
Yeah, there you go. And
that's
Chris
what-
can help
that's
you
what
with that.
Chris- I had an appointment at 11.
Good. Okay, good. So again, everyone can accomplish these things, but I just want to kind of run through some ideas, and we can anytime talk about things more specifically at other times. But these are just things that have worked in the past. One, just like we just talked about, reach out to everyone you know, no matter what their business. You never know who might know someone, and I talked about this the other day, that it used to be that had a graph or a graphic example of this, where it's a person looking into one of those carnival mirrors, and it just goes on for infinity, right? And the point being is that everybody you touch, back then, this is probably 10 years ago, and they said that 285 people were impacted by that touch, whether it's positive or negative. That ultimately the impact could be through 285 people as people talk about different things, especially in a small, community that Charlottesville is or Scottsville is or that kind of thing. Now it's probably, I'd say 10 times, it may be 20 times that, because when we talk about Facebook or we talk about social media, when you post things on the Facebook sites and things like that, however many people you have that like your page are seeing it. And then if you encourage them to share it to their people, onto their pages, well, now you've got, a ton of people. And so one of the things that a lot of people don't think about is when their house gets listed, one of the first things that they should do is come on the Roy Wheeler page when we promote it and share that onto their own page and ask their friends to share. Hey, my house is on the market with Roy Wheeler. Here's the the information on it. Would you please share this with others who you think might be interested? Well, the next thing you know, it's shared out to 4 or 5 different pages. It has this amazing. We're seeing that, and we'll talk a little bit about it. We're seeing that with this I Love Seaville thing we're doing. I know you watched Alex
I'm
yesterday.
hooked now. I listened at the gym this morning. I listened to a Mark Lorenzoni.
Yeah.
It was fabulous.
Yeah, and so there's this new Facebook TV show, basically Facebook Live. It's every day at 12:30, and we are one of the sponsors. So every Wednesday, one of our agents is on it. And Alex was so nervous. Everybody's been nervous. Alex was so nervous, but he was awesome. He did such a great job, and it went on for almost an hour and a half. But anyway, the point is now people are watching it on I Love Seaville. We've now got it so it gets posted to the Roy Wheeler page. So Facebook Live's on Roy Wheeler for the hour. Alex had it on his Facebook page. And now Jerry's got it on 7 different channels. He's got it on Seaville Food. He's got it on Seaville Sociology. He's got so however people follow I Love Seaville, there's 7 different places where this Facebook Live is coming to play. And then from there, he spends the next several days just blasting those things out, the whole interview and then little portions of it. We'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, the point being is reaching out no matter what the business is and having them help you get the word out that you are you're in the business, that you want to help them, that you've got the obviously the expertise and the experience to do what you need to do. So that's the first thing. We reach out there, dry cleaners, restaurants, whoever whoever you do business with, do they know that you're in the business? And that's one of the things about wearing a name tag. A lot of people don't like to do it, but you put Roy Wheeler and your name on there, and all of a sudden people see that, oh, you're a realtor. And next thing you know, you're having a conversation, and hopefully that conversation leads to building rapport with that person, gaining credibility of that person, and having an opportunity to show them you care. Both Brian Buffini and Rick DeLuca, 2 longtime trainers, talk about when they were agents, some of the best business they had was from people that never bought a house from them. Rick DeLuca talks about this Denny's waitress that he befriended and built rapport and gained credibility and showed her she cared. And he said she must have referred to him 20 people. He lived in Reno. Wow. And people would come in there to have breakfast, and they're there and they're thinking about selling. Oh, well, let me give you Rick DeLuca's card. And the next thing you know, somebody would be calling Rick and saying, Rick, the waitress at Denny's told me to call you. And she never bought a house. As long as she didn't want to buy a house, she rented a house, but she just handed his cards out like they were candy. And Brian talks about a couple different people in that same scenario.
May I tell you something
Sure.
that has gotten me more business than I thought it ever would? I have a personalized realtor plate, and my last name is C, so I have SEAYIT, which is see it on my tag. People come up to me and say, are you a realtor? And I've actually sold houses because I paid another, $25 a year for license plate tag.
No,
It didn't cost me anything other than that. little bit of money.
Absolutely. When a customer comes to you with a positive story about their experience with how you do business, get them to write it up and forward the email to your customer database so that folks can be constantly reminded of what a great job your company does day in and day out. We get these surveys. You sell something and we send these surveys out. When they come back, Chris is posting on Agent Profile, but there's nothing to say that you can't be taking those because they're checking saying, yes, use it in whatever you want, and creating something. And you don't put their names in, but on your Facebook page say, Really great to get this review today from my last sale, right? I just got an email from the president-elect of the Virginia Realtors Association. He's a broker manager in Harrisburg. He sent me an email the other day saying, we were talking about something else, but he said, no, by the way, many of my agents feel like you're the best GRI instructor they've ever had. So I copied and I sent that right to the GRI person, in Richmond saying, hey, it's really great to get this feedback because I want the people who are making decisions about those classes to know those kind of things. Now, that's where it gets a little uncomfortable because I'm sort of bragging about myself in that situation, but that's what personal promotion is. If I want to have the opportunity to teach these classes, then I've got to do my part in getting the word out that I am teaching them and that when people take the class, they enjoy it. And the same thing for you, when you get a positive a note back from somebody to, that's why one of the things that Chris does is he doesn't mention the agent's names, but he's constantly posting the agent testimonials on the Roy Wheeler business page about had a great experience with such and such. They were patient, they were blah, blah, blah. So that hopefully people seeing those things when they get ready to buy or sell, they say, I'm going to go to that company because of the type of testimonials and feedback they're getting. And then once you have a few, create a flyer. Again, Chris can help you with this. Create a flyer of of who here you are, and first part of it about your commitment to doing business in a certain way. But then the rest of the flyer have testimonials from people, and if they've checked, yes, you put their names. I would check with them and say, hey, I'm doing this. Well, are you okay with it? But if they've checked, yes, use my name in a testimonial. And now you've got a flyer so that when you start working with a buyer and you're going to meet with them, you send that to them first. You're gaining credibility by them being able to read and say, hey, wow, this person really has people raving about them. Listing presentation, put it as part of your listing presentation that when you're looking to sell your house, you basically are hiring somebody to market your house to get it sold. So in essence, I'm here for a job interview, and one of the things that's important in a job interview is references. And here are some people that I've worked with, and this is what they say about me. So that the people can really see that not just what you're telling them, but other people are writing the same kinds of things about you. So create a flyer. Again, think outside the box. When you're contacting your sphere of influence, your sphere of influence should be your main target of the people that know you, and that may just be getting to know you as a realtor, but they know you from other ways. Just how many different ways, I call it consistent creativity or being a polite pest. How many different ways can I share things so it's not boring? Mm-hmm. So, one of the things that, they may not be in a particular area, but sending them, I'm holding an open house in such and such. If you're out in that area, please stop by. I'd love to see you. If you know somebody who's thinking about wanting to buy, please send them by. When we do toilet things or when we do the puppy love, there's a great example. Hey, we're collecting blankets and towels, for the SPCA. If you have some, I'd be happy to stop by. Do what I call a reverse pop by. And what I mean by that is you're stopping there not to give them something, you're stopping to pick something up from them. And to just send out to your sphere of influence, hey, we're doing this this donation for SPCA. All of us have some old blankets or towels or things like that. If you've got some that you've been wanting to get rid of, give me a call and I'll stop by and pick them up. And so it's like a reverse pop by. And they're so grateful that you're making that, that effort. So thinking outside the box in ways that you can contact them. Using open houses to promote yourself and not just the home that you're hosting. And that, that's that whole maximizing an open house that we talk about all the time. That, yeah, I'm holding this house open, but what other business can I get from this versus just the people that come in that day? Mm-hmm. Well, I can use it to introduce myself to the neighbors. I can go around and just knock on, 10, 15 doors and say, hey, I'm going to be holding this house open. I'd love for you to stop by. I'd love for you, if you know somebody who's thinking about wanting to move into the neighborhood, I appreciate you letting them know about it. You might do a personal promotion flyer about the open house to an area that you think is a move up to that, that the people who live here would want to move up into that neighborhood. The thing that jumps into my head just, right now is because I was looking at the hot sheet this morning. a house on Rainier sold, which is right there in, off Royal Road, 355, that kind of thing. So I think, okay, if I'm going to hold that house open, where would I go? Well, I might go down to River Run and send them into all those condos. They're nice area. They like living out in that area, but the house has gotten too small. Hopefully what happens is a couple of those people come, you build rapport, you gain credibility, you show them you care, and they say, I'd like to find a house, and I have another house to sell. So now I've got double business because of what I did to market that open house. So using open houses to promote yourself, and not just the home you're hosting. And that takes some time and it takes some energy, but if you do it right, do a couple of those a month, now you've got a reason for prospecting, for promoting yourself. Another example is you're holding a house open. Let's just use Rainier just because it's in my head. And you're going to hold an open house in there. And so you want to preview other houses in that neighborhood so that when people come into your open house, you can tell them about the other houses. Well, take the time to preview the house, but also knock on the doors to the left and right of it and the one across the street. So knock on 3 doors. Hi, I'm Logan. I'm with Road Realty Company. I'm holding an open house over here on Rainier Drive this weekend. I just wanted to introduce myself. And first, if you know anybody who's thinking about wanting to live in the neighborhood, love for you to send by. But 2, how do you like it here? Tell me what the things that you like about the neighborhood. So when people come to the open house, I can tell them that. How long have you lived here? And what ends up happening is in a 5-minute conversation, you find out maybe they rent it. Oh, so you rent it. How long have you rented? For 6 months. Oh, so is it a 1-year lease? Yes. Are you thinking about staying? Well, I'm not sure. Well, here's my card. And if I can help you figure out, and help you make that decision, I'd love to do that. Love to just sit down and have coffee with you and talk to you about that. Well, I'm not sure I can qualify for a house. Well, I could sit down and have coffee with you and bring Jay Dominic from Movement Mortgage with us, and he could, talk to you about those kinds of things. Anyway, it's all, you're doing the open house, but it's all about meeting 3 other people, and you have a reason for meeting them. You just preview the house, and now for a meeting them. Holding happy hours, dinners, so you can personally network with your sphere of influence, and within networks that will positively impact your business. Again, this can be really easy to do. It's not, you don't drink, but
I don't.
But you could go to, what's that little place right across the river, the Tavern? Is that what it's called? Right there in
It's
Scottsville?
actually in Scottsville, yeah.
So what you could do is invite people there, and the first drink's on you. So you get some tickets, and it's happy hour, and it's a $5 beer or wine, and the first one's on you. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to set up. You don't have to clean up. You just got to be there for a couple hours. And you don't drink. You don't have to drink. But you bring your people in, and for, say, 20 people come for $100, you've promoted yourself out there. And even the people that don't come are so grateful to have been asked.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to remember that you asked them to do that. And so it's a great situation where you don't have to, fix up your house or rent a spot or whatever. You just say, hey, there's a happy hour at the tavern or a happy hour or whatever. I'm going to be there, and the first drink's on me. Bring this postcard or whatever. Just a great way of expanding your network. Different examples, agents here, grab a pie day at Thanksgiving, wine and cheese around the holidays. Mike Peters does a great job at Poinsettia. He goes out and drops off poinsettias at all the places, but there's nothing to say that you couldn't have a little event and say, hey, come have a little glass of wine with me and receive a poinsettia. And again, you could still do that at a happy hour. You could have the poinsettias and that just be that's right.
They come here.
That's exactly right. Or again, this reverse Popeye idea that I was just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You're promoting something, and you could do it 2 or 3 times a year. You could do right now with the SPCA. You could do something a little bit later with the food drive, and then you could finish it up with toilet. All 3. Hey, if you want to, we're going to be collecting these things, but if you'd like for me to stop by and pick up a bag of non-perishable stuff, I'm happy to do it. Or if you're marketing yourself in a particular neighborhood, you send something out and say on Saturday morning from 10 to 12, I'm going to be in the corner of Still Meadow and Brownstone. And just stop by and drop food off, and then I'll take it to the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. And so people start walking up and dropping those things off. Try to not compete with the Boy Scouts or compete with the post office because they do it, but at another time, and you're sitting there, having a cup of coffee right on the corner with a sign, food drive. Even people driving by, they remember, oh yeah, I got that thing. I need to, hopefully I can get back and
Right.
get it. It can be really simple, and it doesn't have to take a lot of time and energy. Again, talk to your business sphere of influence about setting up an area with your material. A lot of businesses don't have those kind of things because nobody's ever asked. So, have a little, and Chris is putting together something right now, a postcard that we're gonna get out to like hotels and things like that. We're also gonna mail it out to other real estate companies to try to get relocation business in. But we're gonna show you guys so it can be personalized to you as an individual, and to go to the dry cleaner and say, hey, would you mind having these, by the cash register or whatever. All they can say is no, right? And they may say yes, and then the next realtor comes in and say, well, I want my stuff, and then finally say, you know what? But even if I get a week or two where my stuff's in there, before they say, now everybody wants to do it, and we just don't have the room, that kind of thing. Nothing wrong with, taking the initiative and trying to get that done. Regular emails, blasts about the industry, new products, news about real estate. I try to help you with that, with things that I send out to you. The key here is that you have a concerted, intentional effort to get people's emails. Because if you can get people's emails, being in touch with them becomes a lot less expensive. And so again, just as one example in a neighborhood, you do a turkey drawing. You send a postcard in and say, if you send an email to me by such and such, you're going to be entered into a drawing for a $20 fresh turkey from Food of All Nations or Whole Foods or whatever. And people send you emails. Well, now you've got this. You start building this email database, and now it becomes much easier to communicate things. And so, like, I'll send you a link about something that I see on Inman or whatever, or the Roy Wheeler newsletter that we put out, electronic newsletter that we put every month. It's a link, and you can say, hey, here's the most recent Roy Wheeler newsletter. It's got information about vendors. It's got information about different types of mortgage products, blah, blah, blah. But it's so easy to send those kind of things out. The next thing that I think is really important, take some time, and it has to become a habit, is watching the news and reading the papers. Watch the news, read the papers, and then sending personal notes to those in your sphere of influence or their family who you've noticed in the paper as being recognized. So a couple of examples. Right at the end of the year, Daily Progress does their Distinguished Dozen, where they recognize 12 people one day at a time for 12 days. People who make a difference in the community. I save those papers and I literally write a note to every one of them. And I don't even know them. Some of them I know, and then I write it, but I literally write congratulations on being recognized by the Daily Progress with my card, because I'm just doing it so that they go, whoa, the CEO and managing broker of Roy Wheeler Realty Company took the time to write me and thank me, so that if any of you guys have relationships with them, they're going to have a better feeling about who we are, and we're going to gain credibility in that place. We're going to show people who care. Just today, I didn't know this, saw it in the news last night, but I didn't know that Andrew Watson, who just signed a letter of intent to play tennis at Mary Washington, is Betsy Watson's grandson.
Oh, wow.
And the only reason I knew it is because Debbie forwarded me an email that Betsy sent up the link from NBC last night. I saw it on the news, but I didn't know that. And so I'll drop a note to Betsy. Congratulations. I've already dropped a note to Betsy saying congratulations. Didn't know it was your grandson. Any of those types of things. When I go to events like yesterday, there are 2 or 3 people that I had, conversations with, more than just, hey, how are you? They'll get a personal note from me this week. Hey, it was great to see you in Richmond. Thanks for taking the time to talk with me. And the whole point of that is just to, 1, show them I care, but 2, to make Roy Wheeler forefront in their mind. If they know somebody that needs to be referred into our marketplace, they can be. It takes effort. There's no doubt about it. It needs to become a habit. For me now, it's just like rolling out of bed. I mean, it's just what I do. It's just part of me. But for others, it takes longer to do that. I was so grateful when Yona, maybe she's watching, but left these cards up here on the thing that weren't being used. I grabbed a bunch of those and I've been using them to write personal notes, to folks. So anyway, Watch News. One of the things I do is kind of crazy, but I'll go to, used to be Zazu's, it's now called Pico or whatever, and I'll grab the Seaville out of the newspaper box, and I get my salad, and I sit there and I go one page at a time. And I just, once a week, I go one page at a time, looking through there to see, I like to see the different types of ads. I like to, encourage, if we have ads in there, I give Chris some ideas as to whether it was good or bad, or the agents do it. But more importantly, I'm looking for little just pieces of recognition that I can send to somebody and say, hey, I noticed.
Right.
I noticed that you were recognized this way. And I'll do it with other agents. If I see a really, cool ad or something like that, I'll send it to an agent and say, I really thought your ad in Seaville was really good. Whether it's our company or not, just encouraging them. And then, again, engaging yourself in social media. If you can think about social media as being part of the conversation, it makes all the sense in the world to be involved in it. It may be totally outside your comfort zone. You don't have to really, in all honesty, you can set up a Facebook page and then set up a Facebook business page, and you don't have to really do anything except for watch other people. And as you see other friends of yours putting things in there, they're on a trip to see Steamboat Springs, to sit down and write them a note. So as soon as they get home from Steamboat Springs, there's a note from you in their mailbox that says, hey, notice that you were in Steamboat Springs over the week. I hope you had a great time with your family. If I can help you with anything as it relates to real estate, please let me know. So just being part of the conversation, can make a difference. I saw something the other day where another agent or something, and somebody said something about the fact that they were getting ready to get their real estate license. And so I found it, and even though I'm not their friend, I can click on there and I can message that person and just say, hey, I noticed that you're thinking about getting in the real estate business. If you'd like to talk to other companies, we'd love to have a chance to have a conversation with you. Whether she reaches out or not, I don't know, but I would have never known that she was thinking about it if I hadn't seen it posted on somebody else's, page. And then this I Love Seaville thing is really taken off. I think it's going to be an amazing, opportunity for us. And I'm so glad that Jerry, I don't know why he did, but I'm so glad Jerry came to us first and said, I want you guys to do this. And then LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, all those places are places that you can go. I don't do Pinterest because I'm not a big crafts and do-it-yourself type things, but there are a lot of people that are. And being on Pinterest, if I was an agent, I would be on Pinterest because people are always talking about how they're fixing up they're this or they're fixing up this, and sometimes they'll say, getting ready to put my house on the market.
From that standpoint,
Yeah.
yeah.
So a lot of those do-it-yourself projects and things. If I was an agent, I would be on there. Creating a Facebook fan page for your business, creating a Twitter account. I put Twitter account, that's the last thing I would want you to do. I'd want you to do all the other things first. I sort of manage the Twitter account for Roy Wheeler. We're not actively engaged, but we stay pretty engaged. Obviously, I'm very engaged in Twitter on my own personal account, and on my radio show has a Twitter account. But you really have to be engaged in that. That's more of literally a conversation that if you're not on it, you miss what's being talked about. Facebook, you can kind of go back and kind of figure it out. But Twitter is it's just, somebody posts some tweets something and somebody else tweets a response and you don't know what that response was to, and it's just harder. So that would be LinkedIn, Facebook are the two places that I would probably start. And then Instagram and Pinterest, again, because of if I'm an agent, I'm on both of those for sure. Couple books that in regards to customer service and in regards to getting outside your comfort zone. One, both very simple reads. One's Who Moved My Cheese? And it's a book basically about the fact that the industry's changing. And if you're still sitting over here waiting for the cheese to come, It ain't coming anymore because it's over here now. It's been, it used to be delivered here, but now it's being delivered over here. And if you're not putting yourself in a position to be able to treat the cheese is, then you're not gonna eat. And it's a whole thing about these two mice, and one says, no, I'll just wait here. I'm sure it's gonna come back. And the other one starts trying to figure it out, searching it out. And then Raving Fans is a book about customer service. Just what we want to do, going back to the 285. We want to do such a great job with people that we're working with, and we want to communicate that we're the kind of people that care about people and want to do it the right way and that kind of thing. Because what we want is for other people to be fans of ours. And so when people say, I'm thinking about real estate, oh, you got to call June, or oh, you got to call Logan. They did this for me. They did. That's the best form of advertising.
Mhm.
You think about people with their sports teams and their college teams, and everybody's wearing their jerseys and things like that. How cool would it be if everybody wore their Logan Roy Wheeler jersey around because they were that big a fan, right? And so our job in promoting ourselves is to put ourselves in a position so that we make people fans of ours, and that because they're our fans, whenever anybody talks about real estate, your name gets mentioned. I mean, there's nothing better than having that kind of credibility from other people. Thoughts, questions? I mean, that's a real quick sort of overview. We kind of dig down deeper when we talk about geographic farming, and we talk about maximizing the open house, and we talk about getting with Chris and really digging into the social media. But this is more just to kind of open your mind up a little bit and think about some things that you aren't doing that you should be doing. Can I have the courage to do it? Do I have the energy to do it? Do I have the time to do it? All those things come into play. And
Where do you find the time to belong to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Pinterest or whatever it is, LinkedIn? How do you find the time to do that? Because you can get consumed with Facebook and sit there and 2 hours have gone by. I do it in the middle of the night. If I get up, check my phone, and if I'm looking at Facebook, it'll be 1:30 and then it'll be 4 o'clock.
well, and so
I've
you're
wasted all
making,
my time.
but you're making, that's
I'm
the
not
point.
doing something right.
But what you're talking about is a great question as it relates to time management.
Okay, free time management classes, that doesn't touch Facebook.
But what I'm saying is that there's Facebook and then there's Facebook. There's Facebook for business, where I'm in and out, right? And there's Facebook for personal, where I'm trying to, see what my kids are doing or whatever. And I have to have time for both of those things. And so what I do is, obviously it's on my phone, and I'll be in and out. So like yesterday, I took some pictures and I posted that I was in Richmond and at these events. And then I'm out. I don't go then start searching around and reading other stuff because it's so easy to do it, right? No, that's my personal account. I don't have a business page. I only have a Roy Wheeler business page that Chris and I administrate. That's my personal. But what I'll do is I'll post personal, but then when Chris posts something on Roy Wheeler or whatever, I'll share it onto my page. So it gets both. But the point you're making is a very good one. Just like anything else,
You got to draw the line. You got to say, I'm doing X amount of time, then I'm doing something else.
That's exactly right. That for this hour in the morning is my social media time. For this hour in the evening is my social media time. And I'm doing both things, but I'm not going to let this go from 9 to noon. This is 9 to 9:30, or whatever the case may be. I'm blocking that time out and making it a priority to use it for the right reasons versus getting sucked in. And the next thing I know, I've watched this video and I've done this and I've done that.
Yeah.
That's not helping me. So, but great question. All right.
Wonderful.
Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate it.
We'll have to set up some time with Chris and
Yeah.
have the Facebook realtor page, but I just have to kind of learn how to take certain things that I read and share them and post them and so on.
Don't you have to be careful with that, though, sharing things that you read as far as?
Not as long as you.
If it's a published,
As long as it's published, and because when they open it up, it's going to show who wrote it, so it's not like you're stealing anything.
Mhm.
But another great question answered differently is what you do want to do is when you don't just post the link. You write a couple sentences above it, and you write a couple sentences behind it. because the Google Analytics of those things pick up. It becomes stronger because it's content where Google knows if you're just copy and pasting a link that's not yours. But if you put a couple sentences in front of it, hey, just I was reading through this article and I was really struck by the fact that that rental prices in Charlottesville have gone up by 21%. Take a look at this link, and then below it say, this could be the time for you to think about stopping renting and buying because of whatever.
So as
Now
long
you
as you
could-
share that information.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You don't just post.
Yeah. But I mean, you can just post the link. I mean, honestly, you can post the link and you're not going to get any trouble because when somebody opens that link, it's going to say who wrote it. Yeah, that it wasn't yours.
Okay.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah.